Hi everyone, welcome to Conceptual Thinkers Talk Primary Maths Concept with Teacher Ben. Now today, our question of the day will be P6 ACS J Prelim 2022 Paper 2 Question 14. Now let's start to interpret the question. So some white and grey rectangles were used to form figures that follow a pattern. So we have a white and grey rectangles. So we have the first four figures shown below. Now the table shows the number of white and grey rectangles used for each figure. So complete the table for figure 5. Now this is actually a pretty easy to identify concept. This is under what we call number patterns. Okay. Now before I start to implement the step to solve the question, I think it would be good if you can spend some time to analyze the type of ways to solve number pattern question. Okay, so allow me to show you some example of the number pattern techniques. Okay, so first one that we will be talking will be aromatic sequencing. So aromatic sequencing is like this. So let's say that we have figure number 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's talk about the pattern. So the pattern in this case will be, let's say it's 3, 5, 7 and 9. Now you know that from here, from figure 1 to figure 2, we are doing an addition of 2. Okay, we'll be doing addition of 2, 2, 2. So what we're going to do is, if you look at the sequence, we'll be taking 2 and we are multiplying with the figure number. Now 2 times 1 will give me 2. Then in order to get to the pattern, we need to add additional of 1. Okay, so this will give me this. Then if you look at figure 2, it will be 2 times 2 plus 1. So 2 times 2 will give me 4, 4 plus 1 will give me 5. And if you look at the third figure, it will be again 2 times 3 plus 1. Now from here you should start to able to link the pattern. So here will be another 2 times figure number 4, then we add 1, right? So if you look at the general form, it will be equal to 2 times the figure number, let's call the figure number n. Okay, so let's say we have a figure number n here. So this will look something like this. So 2 times n plus 1. Okay, now let's combine this. So 2 times n will give me 2n. So it will be 2n plus 1. So this is as a general idea of doing aromatic sequencing. So if we have a plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, what we do is we'll change this 2 to 5. Then you multiply the figure number and see what is the difference that you need to achieve your pattern. So you can use this aromatic sequencing to help you to solve some of the questions that you face in top school paper or even for PSLE. Okay, so next let's look at another pattern. So the next pattern that I want to discuss will be what we call square numbers. Now I think a lot of people know what is square number. Just allow me to actually show you an example. So let's say in this case I have figure 1, 2, 3, 4, and the pattern here. So let's say that I'm using 4, 9, 16, 25. So we can actually convert this to 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, and 5 times 5. Now we call it a square number because this will give me the square area, right? If you are using 2 times table, then this 3 times table, 4 times table, 5 times table. Okay. So let's say that we have a figure n. So what will it look like will be, because you see this is figure 1, then this is using 2, right? Then this figure 2, we are using 3 here. So it will be n plus 1. Then we need to multiply by n plus 1. So this is a general form for square number. Basically the same number times the same number. Okay, sometimes it will be even easier. It will start with 1. Okay, sometimes it will start with 0 and then 1, 4, 9. We just need to do some changes to the I would say the algebra inside, so that it helps you to solve the question. Let's say it starts with 1, 1, 4, 9, 16, right? Then it will be n times n. Okay, that will be the sequence for it. So this is pretty straightforward. Now the next one that I will be talking about will be slightly more challenging. We call it a triangular number. So let's give you a few examples. So figure, let's say we have 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then for pattern wise, it will be maybe you can start with 1, then we have 3, we have 6, then we have 10. So let me just give you more numbers, also easy to actually illustrate. So you notice that it's an addition of 2, and addition of 3, addition of 4, addition of 5. Okay, so that's actually a sequence pattern that you can use. So let's say that we are looking out for figure n. So what you need to do is just use your figure n, you multiply by n plus 1, then you divide by 2. Okay, so if you try out with this, you notice that it will be 1 times, if n plus 1 means we'll get 2, right? So 1 times 2 give me 2, 2 divided by 2 will give me 1. So let's try with this. So figure number, okay, let's try with 3. So n will be 3, so 3 times 3 plus 1 will be 4, so 3 times 4 will give me 12, 12 divided by 2 will give me 6. If you use 5, 5 times 6 give me 60, 60 divided by 2 give me 15. Okay, so it's actually good to remember the pattern for this. Now let me give you other examples. So let's say that we have pattern for figure 1, right? Maybe we have 0 first. So 0, 1, 3, 6, 10. Now you notice that it's actually a 1. It will be almost the same as the previous pattern, just that it will start with 0 instead of starting with 1. Now then the general form, right? The general form for the n term will be n times n minus 1 over 2. Okay, so if you look at what happened is they always incremental increase. 3 plus 4. Okay, so let's test with figure 1. So let's say figure 1 we'll get n equal to 1. So 1 times n, 1 minus 1 will give me 0. So it will give me 0 as a numerator. Then we divide by 2 will give me 0. If you are looking at figure 3, so n will be equal to 3. So 3 times 2, 6. 6 divided by 2 give me 3. Okay, so this is a very good formula to remember for P6 level. Now we go to higher level like secondary school. Now then you will get to face more of such formula. Now there's also one more pattern that I wish to highlight here. Also related to our triangular number. So let me just put it down. So maybe we have like 6. Sorry, 2, 6. Then we may have 12 and 20. Okay, now for this then you will use n times n plus 1. Okay, n times n plus 1. So let's try. If it's a figure 1, so 1 times 1 plus 2 will give me 2, right? So 1 times 2 will give me 2. So let's say we are doing 3, so 3 times 3 plus 1 will give me 4. So 3 times 4 will give me 12. Okay, so all these formulas is good to remember, so that you can try to use them. So if you look at the addition, right, it will be this plus 6. Then we have an addition of 8. Okay, notice that a lot of students struggle with this kind of pattern. So I believe it will be good to be able to remember some of them, so that you can test it out during PSLE. If you notice that there are certain patterns that is not what I discussed here, right, what you can do is you can actually do, you can change this to 2, n plus 2 maybe, or you can change the plus minus symbol, then whether you can divide by 3. So keep changing with that, so that you see whether one of the general formula you'll be able to match to the question. Okay, so let's go back to the question. So let's start to analyze and solve them. Now let's look at the table again. So for figure 1, the white color rectangle is 2. Then for grey rectangle will be 1. Now 2 will be 6, 2, 12, 3, 24. Okay. Now one thing that I can link is the grey with our figure number. So they are actually the same, right? If it's 1, the grey will be 1. If figure 3, the grey will be 3. So I expect the figure number 5, my grey will be 5. Okay, so now look at here. Now if you still remember, I actually have a discussion of one of the triangular number pattern on this. So let's go back to this. You notice there's 2, 6, 12 and 20. So we can actually use n times open bracket n plus 1 formula. So let's test it out. So let's say that to get 2, my n will be 1, right? So let me just use n equal to 1. So it's actually 1 times 2. Now when it comes to 6, it will be 2 times 3. Then figure 3 will be 3 times 4. Then 4 times 5. And lastly, I think here will be, sorry, it's not 6, it's 5 times 6. Just do some changes. So 5 times 6. So I expect here to be 30. Okay, so this will be my part A answer. So let's look at part B. So they want us to find the total number of white and grey rectangles, right, for figure 12. So if we look at part B, so if we look at grey, since we are talking about figure 12, we will expect grey to be 12. Now white, we probably have to do some calculation. Now when it's figure 12, means that my n will be equal to 12, right? So I'm going to take 12 plus 1. So this will give me 12 times 13. So you can actually press a calculator to get 156. Then what you need to do is, since they are asking for the total, so we can take 156 plus 12. So we're going to get 168 as my answer for part B. Okay, next let's look at part C. So a figure in pattern has 625 more white rectangles than grey rectangles. So when they say that it's 625 more white than grey, so what they are trying to tell us that the difference between them is 625. So the first thing I will do is I will go back to the table, I look at the difference. Okay, so we have 2 minus 1, that will give me 1. Then 6 minus 2 will give me 4. 12 minus 3 will give me 9. Then 20 minus 4 will give me 16. 30 minus 5 give me 25. Now, I believe that now when you look at all these numbers, you will think about your square numbers, right? Okay, so square number means that it will be the same number times the same number. In this case, it starts with 1, so we know that it must be 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, and 5 times 5. Okay, so then first thing we need to do is we need to find out what is the figure number so that we can find the number of white rectangles using our formulas, right? So what we do is we do a square root of 625, and you will notice that you're going to get 25, and this will be our figure number. Okay, then next we're going to calculate what is the white rectangle. So to get the white rectangle, you just take n equal to 25. 25 times 25 plus 1. So this will give me 650 by pressing your calculator. Okay. Okay. Now we have already implement our steps. So lastly, we need to inspect. So please ensure that you are answering the question. So please read through again. So you can try to underline the key phrase so that you ensure that you actually understand the question correctly. Now next, also ensure that you are using the correct numbers, because I have students who even after checking, they also write down the wrong number, so they do a transfer error. Okay, so you may want to look at whether you are using the correct numbers, answer the question correctly, and next also recalculate this with your calculator. Okay, so with that we will inspect the question. So don't forget to follow us on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and you will get the latest update of our video, and also follow us on our Facebook, Conceptual Thinkers, Mathematics and English Hub. Okay, so please share your question. If you have any question that you want to ask, or actually want us to present, so feel free to drop your comments in the comments box below. Okay, so with this I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye.